But you know what? The 41, he got squeezed up in the wall, and he saw that as, this guy thinks he's so good, he thinks he can take my track position away. I'm not having it. And that did end up burning Larson. Larson's a lot of talk, as always, is when we come to these NASCAR dirt tracks is, should we keep racing at them? I think me and many fans saw the best of what NASCAR at dirt can look like this weekend. But on the counter, we have seen what the worst can look like. We're going to put it all in perspective in this video.
Wynn's going to punch his ticket to the championship 4.
Got him this time. Oh, he turned it!
No! Make room! Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. There's another 7-time champ. By Logano, maybe no! Kenza takes him out.
Using lessons learned from his father to go from 6th to 1st and score the victory in the Pepsi 400.
20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. 3 flags in the air.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Cameron Simpson, and the very controversial, the very race on the calendar that every fan looks at and goes either ugh, yay, or nay. And I'm kind of in the may category as always. But I think this weekend might have spun me. I don't know how you could not like this weekend's race. We're going to talk about all the action and all of the things to cover in a split second. But here we go. Let's get into the video. I want to start, before we start about the winner, I want to say this weekend marked, I believe it was 30 years since Alan Kulwicki's death in NASCAR after a plane crash. It's just a tough day for motorsports fans, and I thought they did a great job, the broadcast did, of remembering that, of telling the story of Alan Kulwicki. And I just want to touch on that note. I think it was 30 years, maybe it was more, but I thought that was a good note to touch upon and talk about to start this video off. Next, I want to talk about Christopher Bell. He is the first Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. You see his little stat package over there. He is the first Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota to go to victory lane this year. JGR, I won't say they were horrible. I also won't say they've been racing very well this season. I feel as if they just average, you know, just an average work this year. And with that said, though, they are doing a very decent job at sticking with the pack. And I think I mentioned this last week, that Christopher Bell has emerged as #1 at Joe Gibbs Racing, and I firmly believe that. I still think and I think this is just a cherry on top to what I believe, I think he's #1. I think he is the best. I think there's no one better than Christopher Bell at dirt tracks. I don't think there's, not even dirt tracks, in Joe Gibbs Racing. I think he has asserted himself as the best. Joe Gibbs Racing has been on, let's be honest, a little bit of a slump. A little bit of a slump as of late. They haven't really won playoff match races. They haven't really been in the championship 4 in 1. They, maybe with Denny Hamlin here and there, will have a decent look at the weekend, but they haven't shown consistent dominance compared to Hendrick Motorsports. I would roughly argue that RCR has been close to being better than this team. I would argue other teams, some smaller teams, have been better than Joe Gibbs Racing as of recent. But what I will say about JGR is that they did a good thing bringing Christopher Bell. I mean, maybe he struggled, and he kind of reminds me a little bit of William Byron. Maybe this is his breakout season for Christopher Bell. Remember what he did in the Xfinity Series? He just tore it up. Cup Series is obviously different. It's obviously harder. But I will firmly believe that that 20 car is the best at Joe Gibbs Racing. And he didn't win this race by a handout. Obviously, he had dirt experience. I think this is the first time in the 3 years we've ran this race that a driver with dirt track experience has actually went to victory lane, which is a kudos to the dirt track guys and the rest of the field. I think it's more of a kudos to the rest of the field, the fact that no dirt ringer has been able to win the race except for now. So, obviously, a big deal for the dirt guys, for Christopher Bell to win this race. And, again, he had to hold off Chase Briscoe, another dirt guy who was running him down, and then something happened. And then he had to run down the 45 car, who I think it was going to shaping up to be an excellent finish to an excellent race. I thought that 45 car was going to ride it in really deep. He might have slid up. It might have been a repeat of last year. Who knows? But I thought it was going to be a very insane finish, except Ross Chastain, of course, on the top of the wall, stuck there. He really just wouldn't move. He wouldn't get down. So NASCAR was forced their hand to throw a caution. And speaking of that, I know I'm going to squirrel here for a second, but NASCAR was really, I wouldn't say inconsistent. I don't want to say they were inconsistent with their cautions, but I feel as if they were inconsistent with their cautions. I don't think they threw out cautions that needed to be thrown out, and I also don't think they threw out cautions that didn't. They threw out cautions that didn't need to be thrown out. Like Kyle Busch's spin on pit road, as much as, you know, I love the guy and I like seeing things go his way. I mean, he was already in 20-something place. It was a self-spin. He spun onto pit road. At that point, let it go. You let things go. And then the thing with the 34, a really quick trigger there. NASCAR control, I feel like they let themselves get bullied by people. I really do, because they just put these things out there that they just shouldn't. Like that instance when Kyle Busch spun out on pit road. They so quickly hit that trigger for the caution flag to come out. It was so very quick in the moment that they did that. And part of me thinks, I think we all, part of us will think, well, they hit it quick because they wanted to stack the field back up. But I feel like NASCAR lets that narrative be fed because of how inconsistent race control can be. If there's one grievance from this race, if there's one problem that came out of this race, it's probably race control. If there's going to be one complaint from this entire weekend, which we know there has to be, it will be race control. That's the squirrel of the day right there. I just don't think they did it very well at all. And that didn't tamper from the finish really at all. I mean, they had to throw that caution at the end. I don't give them any trouble for throwing that caution flag. I don't know. I feel as if they didn't need to throw a couple that they did throw, and they're very quick to some where they weren't quick to any. I mean, after the Kyle Busch caution, the 12 car spun out in front of the whole field, similar to what the 34 car did when they threw that caution, and they didn't throw that caution there. So, some inconsistencies in race control that definitely can be picked up all around. And then there's another thing before we get to the race results that I want to touch upon, and that's Kyle Larson versus Ryan Preece. Who's in the right here? Honestly, I got to give credit to Ryan Preece. Okay? Does Ryan Preece win races? No. Does Ryan Preece get top 10s? Rarely. Does he get top 20s most weeks? But the guy's been very outspoken about driver respect, and he's one of the new guys in the sport. He doesn't really have much to show for himself. Larson, he squeezed him up into the wall. I don't think it was a major incident, but you know what? The 41, he got squeezed up in the wall, and he saw that as, this guy thinks he's so good, he thinks he can take my track position away, I'm not having it. And that did end up burning Larson. Larson spun himself out. He kept old tires, he spun himself out. He was probably the front runner, probably would have won this race if he kind of didn't get in his own way. But to Preece's respect, Preece ran up, Preece bammed the 5 car and ran him up into the outside wall. Ryan Preece did it very well, and I gotta give kudos to Ryan Preece. I didn't think he would have the guts enough to wreck a guy, but was it warranted? Of course it was warranted. The 5 car ran him up into the wall. Whatever, revenge is warranted. I hope NASCAR is not going to penalize him. Oh man, imagine that happens. Because we all know he did it on purpose. Everybody in the world knows he did it on purpose, but I really, really hope NASCAR just stays out of this one. I believe it was warranted. The contact was warranted. The whole thing was warranted, and I will let this one settle out on the racetrack. I think in the post-race, Larson said, I wish we could just be grown men. I think that's what Larson said, and I disagree with Larson. I believe that the 5 car made a mistake. He ran the 41 into the wall. Granted, the 41 made the similar mistake back in the pack, but it just doesn't support my argument, so we won't put it in there. But still, the 41 made that same mistake. So maybe a bit hypocritical by Ryan Preece, but still, you get run up in the wall, you go run a guy in the wall. Do I think it was a bit aggressive? Yes, I think it was a bit aggressive, but still warranted. So I don't think this will continue very much longer into the near future of NASCAR racing. I really don't. Let's take a look at the finishing results quick. Christopher Bell, as I said, wins the race. His first win of the year, the first win for the JGR boys. So Christopher Bell finishes first. I think they said it's one of the first dirt ringers to win a race. So good for Christopher Bell. Tyler Reddick, again, last year he was fast. He got taken out by a really crazy finish. Tyler Reddick finished second. I talk about a guy who's red hot right now. Austin Dillon finished 3rd. Ricky Stenhouse in 4th. Good finish for him. Also, Austin Dillon had a wicked fast car all day. Those RCR cars were very, very fast, including Kyle Busch. I don't know what happened at the end of the race to KB. We'll get to him in a second. Chase Briscoe in 5th. Again, just kind of towards the end of the race. He had a chance to win this one. Top 10 for Justin Haley tonight. Truex finished in the top 10. Again, Todd Gilliland in the conversation. A top 10 for Todd Gilliland. I think this is 2 out of the last 3 races he's been at the top 10, and 3 of the last 3 races he's been in the top 15. Really great job for Todd Gilliland. Kevin Harvick in 9th. Ty Gibbs, another top 10. Again, putting solid runs together, and he was in the back of the pack all day. They found something, got him to the front. McDowell, another guy that's just really rocking right now. Bubba Wallace in 12th. William Byron looked okay, and then just something happened. Eric Jones in 14th. Harrison Burton ends up finishing 15th today. Those notable finishers outside of the top 15, Hamlin, no show all day, 22nd. Last place, Joey Logano, involved in all the early incidents and just taken out of the race. What a bummer. Kyle Larson, who we talked about him, he finished 35th. Almirola looked good. Finished 31st. Kyle Busch, something happened to the suspension is what NASCAR is saying, and he had to get out of the race. Tough day for Kyle. Not a tough day, a really good day that just turned into a tough day for him. Besides that, those are your notable finishers. Let's talk about Bristol Dirt, because now there's a lot of talk. Should Bristol stay or should Bristol go? Yeah, there's a ton of talk about it. And if you ask me, I wanted to see dirt races now. After this weekend, I want to see a dirt race on the schedule. I've heard people say 2 or 3. I guess I could live with 2, but I rather 1. I really just rather 1. I thought it put on an excellent show. I thought it put on really good racing. I really did like it, but I don't want 2 of these. I also don't want it on Bristol, and I'm still going to stand with that. I rather concrete Bristol, and I believe it brings in a better product. But I would not mind us going to another dirt track on the circuit. I wouldn't mind us finding another dirt track. I wouldn't mind us changing another track into a dirt track. Whatever you want to do. Maybe change Auto Club to a dirt track. Who knows? But I don't want to be on Bristol Dirt anymore. I don't know. It is something about that track of the concrete that just makes that feel. And I don't think the drivers want to be on the Bristol Dirt anymore. Most drivers only want to race on dirt. So now it's going to be NASCAR fans versus NASCAR drivers, and NASCAR is going to need to make that decision. I find it very interesting, as all of us are saying how much we enjoyed this race. And I really did enjoy this race. There was something going on at any moment in today's race. There was something happening everywhere. I think anybody who tuned into this weekend would enjoy it. Even if you're not a motorsports fan, I do think anyone who watched this race would have enjoyed it. And for NASCAR, I haven't thought that maybe since I started this YouTube page, I don't think I've ever thought that no matter who or what you think, you would enjoy this race. Maybe this was the first time. But I think you would have enjoyed this race. I thought it was mint. I thought it was really good. And it showed driver skill. It showed an aspect of the sport that's just not shown every weekend. With that being said, I don't want to be in Bristol Dirt anymore. I want to be in a different dirt track. And I know that's greedy, I guess, but I just rather be on the concrete Bristol. That's just my favorite racetrack on NASCAR. But what I wouldn't mind seeing... what concerns me, though, is that we won't be able to put this show on any other dirt track, and we have to do it here at Bristol Dirt. And if that's the case, that's the case. I won't be as angry as I probably was a year ago about us being on Bristol Dirt. But I won't be as happy as maybe some of you will be. I'd rather us go to a different track, but it's not the end of the world if we stay on Bristol Dirt. So that's my conclusion. Hit the gas or hit the brakes. Yeah! Guys, I think I touched on it. This race was amazing. The broadcast was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed watching this race. The first time I think I can say that about Bristol Dirt. I argue this is the best race of the year. This is the best race of the year. This is. Maybe you guys have a different one that you enjoyed a little more, but for me, best race of the year by far. it hit different. This was a good race. So for that, I'm going to hit the gas. I'm going to give this race an A. I just really did enjoy it. There was action everywhere. There was just something for everyone this weekend. So that's why I'm giving this race an A. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Fast forward a little bit. No other videos this week. I'm going to be recording a video on Wednesday to post next Monday in accordance with our NASCAR, next Sunday maybe it will be. I don't know what it will be. But I am going to be dropping a video next week previewing the NASCAR, the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. But I'm going to have to record it on Wednesday, a little before the season actually ends. Then I will have a video on the road about the NASCAR race at Martinsville. That will come out sometime Monday, most likely. But before that, until then, I'm Cameron Simpson. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.